Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3680. Today's date is 2nd of November 2025. It's been almost like morning at 7:35 a.m. Should we jump into the question? Let's go. All right. Okay. The question is, what if fear was learned skill? Okay. Little bit confusing, but all right. Okay, what exactly is this thing? Why am I asking this question to myself? This is what if question. Why am I asking this question to myself? What if question is always really interested way to give the answer. It kind of like a simply force you to think about that reality. Okay. While I was creating that reality, creating that construct that reality, it required knowledge. Okay, yeah. So when I kind of like a somebody showing my knowledge to construct that reality, it felt really good. It felt something that there is the information inside of me, there is a triggered because of this question, and it felt triggered. Um, Disclaimer: the information that I'm trying to tell you, or the knowledge that I'm trying to tell you, is not exactly right or is not exactly wrong either. It's a raw, it's a unfiltered. It is my opinion, by the way. So don't seek this information or don't believe in every word that I'm saying. It's my opinion, and the opinion will be a subjective. All right. So there is it. Will you? So should we continue? Right. Yeah. Now, question is that, okay, what if fear was learned skill? Okay, what is actually fear and what is actually learned skill? Fear means like that we actually fear of something. Okay, yeah. Sometime we actually afraid of or fear of afraid of. Those are same words. Okay, yeah. Sometimes we are afraid of heights, fire, lot of things. Okay, yeah. I afraid of ghost. A TV ghost. Okay, not the real ghost. Okay, yeah. I haven't really seen the real ghost, by the way, but TV ghost I afraid a lot. Why? Because of the sound effects. Okay, I genuinely avoid to watching them. Okay. Uh, then I fear about. I fear about. Do I fear about what? Um, Losing something. Well, I don't really have anything to lose, so why would I supposed to be fear anything at all? Um, what do I fear? Probably I don't know at the moment. Okay, yeah. Like basically, it's this thing na ki I consider myself life is adventure. Yes, there is a some certain point that you have to be fear. Okay, yeah. I didn't really fear of height probably. Okay, yeah, that is for sure because I went multiple times to the mountain and things and that, and I love it. Um, yeah, it's like that na ki fear is actually kind of like a something. Sometimes you feel, sometimes you. Okay, whatever. We just jump back to the question. The question says that we kind of like a fear of something. Okay, yeah. Sometimes we know, sometimes we don't know, right? Now, what is actually learn skill? A learn skill means like that ki you are learning a skill. The question is actually saying is that ki what if the fear that we are feeling, the afraid that we are feeling, is not a emotion, is a skill that have to be learned? Then what would be that reality? Okay. First of all, I'm gonna ask a question to myself why we fear, why we afraid of things. Well, since the human born, since the human is established on this planet, we are not have anything at all. Like we cannot run faster. We cannot fly like a bird. We do not have kind of like a something fur so that we would protect ourselves in the harsh environment. We doesn't really have a thick skin to kind of like a something that ki like nothing will penetrate. Okay, yeah, we are very vulnerable species living in this wilderness, which is like we don't really have anything at all so that we would supposed to be survive, nothing really at all. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, because of we cannot able to be survive, so we are kind of like a develop some sort of emotions and things inside of us, specifically our brain. Okay, yeah. Our brain is kind of like a something always analyzing that what is at least something should I supposed to be afraid of. Oh yeah, let's just say that like unintentionally suddenly there is a tiger is came in front of you. Okay, yeah, what choices do you have? The tiger is bit more stronger than you, bit more bigger than you, bit more kind of like a danger than you. He has a kind of like a very big claws, teeth. The tiger, and also tiger can eat you. Okay, yeah, you are the food for the tiger. So the chances of the survival is almost like a less than 0%, right? So but you want to be survive. So how do you supposed to be survive in this particular wilderness? How do you supposed to be survive? We kind of like a something have inbuilt system inside of ourselves that is called fight and flight response. Okay, yeah. A flight response means like that ki when we see a tiger, we realize that ki we cannot able to fight with that particular tiger. So we run, we flight from that. We run from that situation, or yeah, escape from that situation. Okay, yeah, that is called flight response. And then there is a fight response, that there is no choice of run, you have to be survive, then you have to be fight. That is called fight response. So these are kind of like simply two emotions are developed inside of us so that we should supposed to be survive. Okay, yeah. Sometime it work, sometime it did not. Okay, yeah. So fight and flight response, these are kind of like a simply the feeling or emotions or whatever it is, it kind of like a something that we born with it. Okay, yeah, we pass this feeling, or we pass this emotion generation after generation. Because of this thing, because of this flight and fight response, we are tend to be look out the danger and try to away from the danger. And that danger might be so many things, maybe tiger, maybe kind of like a something fear of height, or maybe something that ki lot of stuff, lot of stuff. Okay, yeah. So our brain is something wired with the danger. Okay, yeah. Have you ever feel like that? Well, you probably feel like that, but you don't know that. Okay, yeah. Have you ever feel that at sometimes, let's just say you are driving a car and suddenly you realize that brake is fail. Your body is suddenly kind of like a simply went into the shock, and the body movement went so faster that it just like really rapidly. Okay, this might be consequences you might not face, but there is a one incident that you might gonna face. Have you ever tried to touch any kind of like a hot plate or hot material or things like that? Let's just say that there is a kind of like a simply hot something, okay, hot plate. Suddenly or accidentally you touch that thing, you realize that, and the way that you move away your hand so rapidly, you don't even knew it. The way that it movement happened so rapidly, it's just so fast. Or have you ever kind of like a get electrocuted? Like basically is this thing, we are kind of like a get little bit shock every single time regarding about, like, yeah, and suddenly you kind of like a simply get electrocuted a little bit. The way that you pull your finger away from that electric board so rapidly, have you ever feel that this movement is so rapidly is because of that our mind is wired with a danger, and we are always kind of like somebody try to seek to not to get that danger or not to get that close to the danger. And our mind is always make sure our body is kind of like a safe from that danger and things like that. So that's why we are kind of like we create this fight and flight response, and that's why we created this kind of like a fear, okay, or afraid of some certain thing. Because of these emotions, we are kind of like protecting our civilization or human body. Okay, yeah. Because of we are afraid of some certain thing, we kind of like creates the rule that what should we supposed to do and what should we not supposed to be do, which is kind of like simply making sure that we should supposed to be survive in this wilderness and things like that. Now because of these emotions are kind of like simply generate almost like a millions of year ago, since we are born, since the humans are born. Okay, yeah, we are wired with the fear. Okay, and we actually born with a fear. Okay, and this is what something that kind of like simply let us survive from the danger. Okay, danger could be multiple things. Maybe kind of like a something, you're driving and your brake went to failure, or maybe you are kind of like a trap at somebody that you might kind of like somebody die at here or something. A fear is a kind of like a something give you kind of like a something a reason so that you should supposed to be survive and things like that. Okay, now what if instead of kind of like a having this emotion from kind of like a something, like since we born this kind of like some emotions that we packed with default setting. Okay, yeah, but what if these emotions can we learn, then what would be that reality? If a fear or afraid, these are kind of like some emotions that we learn, then what would be that reality? Well, if these are kind of like a something is this thing, then probably there might be very different situation. Okay, yeah. The babies are like basically is this thing. Let me give you the context. Okay, yeah. Have you ever noticed that when there is a baby elephant born, suddenly baby elephant can walk, or maybe baby giraffe or baby cow, or like, yeah, like these are babies are born, and after a 2-3 hour or after a couple of hours they are able to walk, not the way that it should supposed to be, but kind of like a something they could walk and they are ready for life. Why we are not kind of like a do that thing? Like since we born, we are very vulnerable regarding about everything. Okay, yeah, like basically is this thing, when humans are born, we really required very intense care, and if we are not providing that intense care, that baby will gonna die, legit gonna die. Even if we just kind of like simply leave the baby, that baby just die by starving or things or that, because that baby doesn't really have anything at all, he doesn't know what exactly that he want. that baby just a baby, just a kind of like a things. If we not care about that baby, that particular baby just die. Why is that? Why we are not kind of like a somebody, like why other animal are kind of like a somebody ready for the life for within a couple of hours, but for human baby it really required at least like a 2 3 4 or 5 year to kind of like a something just to be evolved and things and that. Why is that? Why is that? Is because of like there is a lot of like basically, let me tell you one thing. Now human species is a very unique thing in its own. Okay, yeah. Have you ever seen any kind of like a species who could walk on two legs? Yeah, there is a kangaroo, there is a bear, yeah, there is a kind of like a monkey, yes. These are kind of like a species can walk on two legs. Yeah, but they are not kind of like a something built to walk on two legs. Like basically what I'm trying to tell you is this thing. Yes, bear can walk on two legs, but not for long. Okay, yeah. A kangaroo can walk on two legs because his body structure is kind of like assembly very much differently. And monkeys are also walk on two legs, but still they are using hands and legs both. Okay, yeah. But we are humans. We are a kind of like a something walk on two leg. Okay, like we are built for walk on two leg. If we are trying to walk on two hand and two leg, we might not walk that much. Or like it's bitterly uncomfortable to walk like that. Why is that? Because when we are kind of like us when we started walking on our legs, things are very much different happen. Okay, yeah. Let me give you the context. Okay, yeah. Look at the body, look at your body and look at the monkey's body. Okay, yeah. Or okay, let's just say look at like basically just look at your body. Okay, yeah. How much your weight would be? My weight is 70 kilogram. Okay, yeah, at the moment 72 kilogram, 74 kilogram probably. Okay, yeah. My legs are capable enough to sustain my weight, right? My legs are strong enough to sustain my weight, right? Yes. Because of I can walk on two legs, so that means I can stand on surface. Okay, so the distance between me and my leg, or sorry, distance between me and my head is far more away from the surface. Okay, yeah. It's kind of like a something very stupid to say, but let me give you this thing. We have moment of inertia. What's a moment of inertia? A moment of inertia, that means we could balance ourselves regarding about that key, like our body is a kind of like a sort move towards left, so our body automatically kind of like adds weight to the right side so that our body could balance. Okay, yeah. Like basically basically there is a kind of like a something inside our mind, there is a gyroscope inside of us. So that gyroscope is kind of like a somebody trying to kind of like a somebody stay on two legs and walk on two legs. Okay, yeah. It always kind of like a somebody give you a kind of like a somebody perfect posture of balance so that you would kind of like stand straight on the surface. Okay, yeah. Now basically is this thing because of we could kind of like a walk on two leg. Okay, yeah. So there is a kind of like a different thing happened. Okay, yeah. We are kind of like simply consuming less energy. Okay, what exactly that? Okay, what exactly is this thing? When you walk two leg and two hand same time, so you are kind of like a creating movement, not only your hand but as well as your legs too. Okay, yeah. So you are kind of like using your both hand and both leg to walk. So that means you are consuming more energy than walk on two leg, right? So basically is this thing, because of we can walk on two leg, we are consuming less amount of energy. So that's why look at yourself and look at the bear or look at the monkey. monkey is a kind of like a something much more bigger. Like basically it's kind of like a somebody is this thing, there is a hip is kind of like a pelvis area is much more bigger than human. Okay, not every monkey, yeah, but still average monkey size is kind of like a solely pelvis area is actually much more bigger. Because of that they are consuming so much amount of energy for walking and things and that. Okay, yeah, but because of human we are kind of like a walk on two legs, so we are consuming very less amount of energy. So because of we are consuming very less amount of energy, so our dependence of energy became little bit less. Okay, yeah, so our body structure became little bit narrower. So that's why our gut and our pelvis is not really that much bigger. Okay, yeah, it is kind of like a somebody equivalently sufficient enough to kind of like a walk on two leg, balance on two leg, and run on two leg too. Okay, yeah, and we are completely kind of like ignore the hand movement, so that we would utilize the hand movement for some certain purposes. Okay, yeah, that is a one thing. Now because of we can walk on two leg, there is a lot of different thing is actually happened. Okay, our entire structure and entire psychology is actually changed is because of we can walk on two leg. Why? How is this actually happened? Okay, yeah, uh, I'm gonna talk about something very not good stuff. Okay, yeah, it's little bit kind of, it's not something improper, but still, okay, yeah, let me give you context. Okay, yeah. So because of we can walk on two leg, okay, yeah, okay, I'm give you kind of like some little bit of something like context. Okay, yeah, uh, when you kind of like a something when you just make a dog posture. Okay, yeah, just make a dog posture. Okay, yeah, when you kind of like a somebody sit like a dog, or when you kind of like a somebody do a kind of like a somebody dog posture, your kind of like a somebody asshole, okay, yeah, is kind of like a somebody became more wider, like a basically it kind of like a getting space to expand, right? Okay, it's very inappropriate, but okay, yeah. When you kind of like a simply sit a posture like a dog, you are kind of like a asshole, or you are kind of like a somebody the ass hole have a kind of like a somebody a freedom to expand. Okay, yeah. But when you kind of like a walk on when you walk straight, or when you kind of like a simply walk on two leg, your asshole doesn't really get that much freedom to expand. Okay, yeah, do it by yourself. Okay, yeah, if you wanted to do it, just kind of like I don't wanna I don't wanna tell you this thing. Okay, what you have to do is that take your finger, feel your asshole. Okay, do not put the finger inside of it. It's so wrong. It's so wrong, but yeah, do not put the finger inside of it. Okay, yeah, just feel the surface area of the asshole, that hole. Okay, yeah, from your finger. Okay, yeah, when you walk, it felt little bit smaller, but when you put the dog posture, that hole is feel little bit bigger. Okay, yeah, just feel it. Okay, yeah, just don't put inside any of it. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. So this is kind of like a something the science work. Okay, what's exactly science? Okay, yeah, means like that when our body is a kind of like a something in right angle. Okay, yeah, the our kind of like a asshole became much more bigger. Okay, yeah, so when it get much more bigger, it kind of like add so much incredible advantages for other animal. Okay, yeah, what, why? Okay, yeah, okay, you already know na how do we born. We actually born from birth canal. Okay, yeah, the women have a kind of like a simply the okay, yeah, we actually came from that birth canal. Okay, yeah, and now where is that birth canal? Okay, I'm gonna kind of like talk about little kind of like a straight. Okay, yeah, it's very inappropriate, but okay, yeah, it's not inappropriate, it's a everyone should supposed to be know. um we have asshole. Okay, yeah. In from that asshole, we kind of like excrete our stool, excrete our kind of like assembly, whatever we kind of like assembly ate shit, we kind of like release our shit from that asshole. Okay, yeah. I am a male, so I have a penis. Okay, yeah. A female doesn't really have a penis, they have vagina. Okay, yeah. Now vagina is a very different like a organ. Okay, yeah. We have a penis, we can utilize penis for kind of like some urine. Okay, yeah. Another thing, our penis can create the sperm. Okay, yeah. And we could insert the sperm in vagina by reproduction process. All right, yeah. Now birth is actually happened inside the woman body. Okay, yeah. Now when that baby is kind of like when the baby is kind of like evolved inside the woman's body. Okay, yeah, it has to be come out. Okay, it has to be come out from somewhere, and that baby is come out from vagina. Okay, yeah. Now let me give you context. Okay, yeah. Because of we could walk. Okay, yeah. Our scientific point of perspective, when we walk straight or kind of like a something the stand straight, the surface area of our asshole as well as the surface area of vagina is became smaller. Okay, yeah, is became smaller. Yes, because of kind of like a something the two legs are crunching. Okay, yeah, crunching themselves so that the surface area of that vagina is became smaller. Okay, yeah. So when it became smaller, the birth canal, like birth canal means that the surface area of that kind of like a sort of baby will come out, is became smaller. Okay, so when it became smaller, things change. Okay, things change. It means that the baby that we are kind of like a something excrete from our body, a human baby. Okay, like basically when the pregnancy happened and when the baby is actually come out from the vagina, that baby is not evolved that much. Even if that baby which is actually in still 9 months, that baby is still not evolved that much. Why not? Why that baby is not actually evolved? Because let me tell you one thing. Okay, the way that like I'm trying to compare. Okay, yeah, you have to try to compare the way that you born and the way that animal born. Let's just say the way that you born, the way that cows born. Okay, yeah. Okay, have you ever seen the cow born? Okay, if you don't really see, go to the YouTube, search about the kind of like a somebody the baby cow born. Okay, yeah, you might kind of like a see the video. Okay, yeah, see this video, it's a very gross video. Okay, it felt really like kind of like a little bit gross, but you have to be get if you wanted to need any kind of like information. Yeah, so watch that particular video first. Okay, when you watch that particular video, okay, yeah, entire fucking baby cow is actually come out from that particular kind of like a something the asshole or whatever it is from the cow. Okay, yeah, and that asshole became so big, so wider, so that entire baby cow came out from that hole, which is kind of like something so crazy. You just kind of like feel like that ki, oh my god, you just feel like that, what the fuck is this thing? You don't really kind of like feel like that ki, this is very very small hole the way that you looked at, but when that baby is actually come out, it became so much wider. You just feel like that, oh fuck. that is really okay. Yeah, now the cow can expand their asshole or expand their hole is kind of like actually much bigger, is because of that ki cow cannot walk on two leg, the cow walk on two leg and two hand, and because of that animal's body posture, their hip area is became more wider, and also the asshole is became more wider, and because of that baby will come out. So that means the birth canal for that cow is much more bigger. Okay, yeah. So when the birth canal is much more bigger, then the baby is kind of like simply evolved inside in the mother's womb, and it could learn everything, that how could walk, how could kind of like a something is this thing. So that's why when the cow is actually come out, the baby cow is actually come out from the cow, that that baby cow can walk on two legs within a couple of hours. Okay, because that baby cow is getting entire information regarding about how to walk, how to kind of like assembly eat, how to is this thing. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing that baby cow is already evolved with everything really required for living the life, like eating something or walking or kind of like a, yeah, these are kind of like a really basic thing. Okay, yeah, that baby cow is actually born with it. Okay, yeah, because of their bigger birth canal. Okay, yeah, bigger birth canal means like that a way that they expand their kind of like a simply the asshole. Okay, yeah. Now try to compare with a human body. Okay, let's take a vagina. Okay, yeah. So because of we could walk on two leg, okay, yeah, our the vagina became more contracted. Because of it contracted, the pelvis areas became more less. Because of pelvis areas became more less, okay, yeah, the birth canal became less too. Okay, yeah. Now because of birth canal became so less, then it's kind of like a very difficult to kind of like a suddenly baby will come out. But dude, the baby cow is much more bigger than kind of like a something the male or baby human. Okay, yeah. So probably birth canal should supposed to be smaller than cow, na? Yeah, that is completely right. Okay, yeah. But our birth canal is so narrower than kind of like a something. Our body is not even like a baby is not even kind of like evolved that much. Okay, yeah, like basically our hand or our legs are cannot kind of like evolve that much to kind of like simply walk on two leg. Okay, so that's why baby cannot walk, the baby cannot do anything at all because their body, their legs are not equivalent or not evolved that much to kind of like sustain the weight by themselves. As a baby cow can do it by themselves, but a baby human cannot do it. So that's why they cannot walk, that's why they cannot put anything at all. Okay, yeah. So that's why nature kind of like do something very differently. Oh yeah, nature kind of like simply do it because of the human birth canal, okay, are so narrower. So that's why kind of like simply nature is actually focused on only one thing to make it human better. And what is actually one thing that make it better? Brain. Okay, yeah. So when the human baby is actually born, okay, yeah, the rest of the organ are so small, like legs and hands and everything is so small, but head is much more bigger. Like basically, have you ever seen that when the babies actually come out, the one of the biggest part of our body is head. Okay, yeah. And head is one of the most essential thing. Okay, and that's why when the baby is actually born, it born kind of like a something like a inversely. What's the inversely? Inversely means like that the baby head is kind of like a come out first and then the leg. Okay, yeah. So basically, what is actually happened? That most of the pain that women face while they are kind of like simply getting out that baby from their vagina, that pain is actually kind of like a come out is because of having the little less birth canal. Okay, yeah. And the baby's head is equivalent to almost like a maybe 5 to 6 inches. Okay, yeah, 5 to 6 inches of kind of like 5 to 6 inches of baby head. Okay, yeah, it has to be come out, and it create a lot of pain to the women. It create a lot of pain to the women. Okay, yeah, it has to be. It's that pain should supposed to be sustained. It's really essential for them for human growth. Okay, yeah, but still after you pain, after you survive and things like that, because of the birth canal, the babies cannot evolve that much. The babies cannot kind of like something is this thing equate that much kind of like information inside of head and things like that, so that baby when they come out they really require a kind of like a something that ki provide help. Okay, yeah, that baby just only one thing, breathe, that's it. Okay, yeah, like basically nature kind of like says this thing that ki even if that baby cannot kind of like simply walk on two legs, even if that baby is kind of like do anything at all, so let's just kind of like simply give the baby some sort of really important advantages so that that baby should supposed to survive. And what kind of like advantages? That baby should supposed to breathe by its own. So our baby, the human baby is actually born, they can breathe by themselves. That is a one good thing. Another thing, okay, yeah, because of the baby is not actually evolved in human body, so that's why most of the kind of like information that humans are getting from the surrounding situation, it doesn't really comes from kind of like a simply genetically, or it doesn't really comes from kind of like a simply mother wounds. No, like basically most of the information that human actually get it is because of surrounding, because nature doesn't really allow them to kind of like learn inside their wound, because the birth canal is so smaller. But dude, what is exactly matter with the birth canal, dude? Okay, yeah. Like what if like that particular baby is kind of like equipped with the entire knowledge and things and that inside the womb, then what's the problem? What's exactly is this thing? Well, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So when we think, let's just compare. Let's just compare that thing. Okay, yeah. The baby cow is actually born with a leg, and in that particular leg has a kind of like a bone structure already constructed inside their leg. Means like that they already have a bones in their leg. When the baby human is actually born, came out, their bone structure is not evolved that much. Yeah, they are kind of like at the beginning stage, but they are not really evolved that much. So that's why the skin of the baby is so smooth, so kind of like somebody is this thing that it just kind of like somebody is this thing that if you touch it, if you feel like that, you will gonna break that particular baby. Okay, yeah. What I'm trying to tell you, what exactly is this thing that if the nature decided that make that particular human with equipped with entire like a entire kind of like information, or entire kind of like a somebody the let's just baby that born with evolved with everything, okay, yeah, that baby should supposed to be having bigger size. Okay, bigger size, like basically the average size of kind of like a baby is actually like almost like a maybe the head is almost like a 3 to 4 inch, okay, yeah, and the rest of the body is a kind of like a somebody 5 to 7 inch, or maybe or kind of like a somebody in feet or half and feet probably. I'm not really sure about the exact measurement of the wound, okay, yeah. But if the baby is kind of like evolved inside our body, inside our the women body, then that baby size of the baby is actually much more bigger, and which is kind of like a very difficult to babies actually come out from the body, because we can walk on two legs, because our the kind of like a contraction area of the kind of like a vagina is kind of like a much more smaller and things like that. Okay, yeah. So nature has to be decided how so baby has to be like basically nature has to be decide that we shouldn't supposed to be kind of like make the baby size much bigger. So we should supposed to be kind of like a focus on something that baby should supposed to survive. So nature actually giving them a brain, okay, yeah, a breathing, okay, and that's it. Okay, there is some sort of thing that internal thing that actually kind of like somebody is this thing, but most of the thing is that baby is not kind of like able to survive the life is because of that baby is not actually evolved that much. So that's why the human baby really required a very intense care for almost like a maybe 2 3 4 year, and then after that baby is kind of like a meant to be survive for life and things like that. Okay, yeah. So that's why most of the kind of like somebody the information that we kind of like somebody learn, it's comes from the genetics. Okay, it's come from genetics. Like basically it's this thing that your father is actually scared of something, then you are also became scared of something is because of that. Okay, yeah. But also there is a kind of like a nature actually decided that let the baby has kind of like a learn from by itself. So basically it's this thing, that's why we are kind of like equipped with the knowledge that comes from the surrounding. Okay, yeah. And this like that. Okay, yeah. Like I was kind of like going through very off topic regarding about this concept. The concept is about that why we are kind of like a fear is actually learn skill, but still I was kind of like talking very differently. Okay, I don't know why, but sometimes I just kind of like simply when I was in the sorry. So when I was in the flow and particular things, I just completely forget that I have a kind of like question to ask. But sorry, I'm gonna ask this question again, but still, okay, yeah, I'm just completely went to the off topic. By the way, what if we could kind of like simply learn fear or afraid by kind of like learn that skill? Then I don't know. Okay, what would be that thing? Okay, yeah. Whatever. This is an actually supposed to be end here, and thank you.